High Fidelity is one of my favorite films. Based on a 1995 novel by British author Nick Hornby, John Cusack co-wrote the 2000 film adaptation with Stephen Frears directing. Co-starring Jack Black, Joan Cusack, Catherine Zeta-Jones, and Lisa Bonet, Cusack's character Rob Gordon was the quintessential Gen X, a restedly developed 30-something male whose goal in life was to collect and curate things rather than experiences. In other words, his most meaningful relationships were with his rock and roll albums. Hulu has now dropped a 10-episode series that modernizes the source material, with Zoe Kravitz now the show's central character, Rob, short for Robin. Obviously, 10 episodes allow for more character exploration than a 2-hour film. Nevertheless, the Zoe Kravitz series makes additional changes to the story and character of Rob, other than the gender of the lead character. Let's look at a few of the more prominent changes in the High Fidelity television series. Warning, spoilers are ahead. A music snob versus a music geek. Don't get me wrong, the new Rob and her friends can be snobs and smug about their taste in music and other aspects of modern living. Selfie Nation and social media influencers get an especially searing condemnation. But Robin and her co-workers Simon and Charisse are more music geeks than snobs. In the original film version, Jack Black has a famous scene where he belittles a man shopping for the Stevie Wonder song, "I Just Called to Say I Love You." In the newer version, Charisse, Simon, and Rob debate the ethics of profiting off a Michael Jackson album, ultimately deciding that Quincy Jones's horns arrangements should not be penalized for the pop star's alleged crimes. Perhaps it's the fact that the original trio that worked at Championship Vinyl were all hetero white men. The new trio of friends and workers at the record store are more diverse. Rob is now a bisexual mixed-race woman. Simon is gay, and Charisse is a woman of color. Their taste in music doesn't come across as narrow and specific as the stereotypical male collector of vinyl that the original film lampooned so brilliantly. The new film is unashamed in its love for mainstream songs and artists. Fleetwood Mac and Paul McCartney's Wings, two 70s supergroups not known for their sad bastard music, get their cred. Funk, disco, top 40 mainstream artists are all given their due in the new High Fidelity. One guy Robin goes on a date with, upon learning that she owns a record store, asks if she'll walk out on him for enjoying Fleetwood Mac's Dreams. Robin, as it happens, loves the song, though she's iffy on its album rumors. The tension and humor of the scene then turns on whether she's too voluble in her analysis of a band she was expected to disdain. Intensity rather than pretension defines her. She's more geek than snob. These music geeks don't feel the compulsive and elitist need to crap on other people's tastes in music. They just want to talk and talk and talk about music. So how are we to think about the key motto of High Fidelity? What really matters is what you like, not what you are like. This is referenced in the film, the book, and the television series. Well, the series retains the assurance that music preferences reflect something individual, inevitable, personal, and in need of sharing with another. A second change from film Rob versus television Rob. Heart versus charm. The original High Fidelity was about a particular kind of man, the a-hole who thinks he's a nice guy. Heartbroken and furious over a relationship he refused to see that he sabotaged, he would quip his way through his past love life, not looking really for answers, but benediction. He wasn't to blame for any of it, right? And while Cusack is always soulful, his smart-ass energy being the ideal vehicle for musical mansplaining, the movie does see his flaws. If gently, it does involve him betting a series of extremely accomplished and beautiful women he would be the first to admit were too good for him. As High Fidelity stretches from a 2-hour movie to 10 half-hour episodes, Kravitz's Rob accomplishes what previous versions could not. She actually becomes a better person. By bravely showcasing her painful vulnerability, Kravitz makes the unlikely seem possible. Cusack's Rob, after all, is pretty terrible. He doesn't exhibit a hint of remorse that his sexual demands led his second girlfriend into a date rape after their breakup, which ruined sex for her for years. He goes into a rage over his recent ex's new relationship, even though he sleeps with Marie without a second thought. Rob's loyal-to-a-fault employees eventually thrive without any help from their self-absorbed boss, and he gets Laura back at the end through convenience and circumstance, but not much growth on his part. Now, Kravitz's Rob definitely has her faults, but part of the journey across these episodes show her actually coming to terms with them, particularly the role she played in her various failed relationships, as well as how much she's ignored her own devoted record store pals. Whereas Cusack's Rob exuded charm, Kravitz has an actual heart. We get the feeling that she actually wants to change, not just grab onto some validation for her crappy relationship past. To do that, Kravitz's Rob is willing to expose some pretty terrible things about herself, and then she faces them head on. The third change, from television Rob to movie Rob. Internal versus external locus of control. One of the biggest shortcomings of Cusack's Rob Gordon is that the film provides him with a happy ending without much growth, maturation, or change of heart. In fact, in revisiting his old relationships that failed, they only further paint Rob as shallow, petty, self-absorbed. He's not a great friend or partner. It's the death of Laura's father that drives her back into the arms of Rob, not any growth or change on his part. In fact, after they reconcile, he's still indecisive in his commitment, 1 minute making a female reporter a mixtape, which for him is a form of flirting and emotional infidelity, and then the next minute asking Laura to marry him. Whereas Cusack's Rob doesn't change, but gets what he wants, Kravitz's Rob does change, because she's held accountable for her actions. She doesn't get back with her ex-fiancé, especially after admitting that the night they got engaged she cheated on him, and subsequently pushed him away in her guilt and shame so he'd be the one responsible for ending the relationship. Her friends call her out on her selfishness and lack of interest and empathy in their lives. And in a refreshing twist, nice guy Clyde, played by Jake Lacey, finally gets fed up with Rob and her mixed signals. Despite her pleas for him to give her another chance, he doesn't forgive and forget in the final episode of the series. Kravitz's Rob is held accountable, tries to change, but ultimately does not escape the consequences of her bad decisions. Well, there you have it. Those are the differences between film Rob and television Rob. Which of the two do you like better? Be sure to leave your thoughts and comments below. I hope you enjoyed this video. You're also welcome to leave a recommendation of a character, scene, or film that you'd like for us to analyze here on Shrink Tank. Until next time, I'm Jonathan Hetterly. Thanks for watching and sharing in our love of film and analysis.